Okay, so this is your login page. I've got my administrative account right here and my password. So you'll get this. You'll log in right here. So the first thing we're going to do now is this will give you some instructions that have been typed in here, and that's all up to your HR department to put this in. You've got video to where it looks like, and one for goal planning as well. First thing I'm going to do is take you to the goals tab where you set your goals. That's how we start. Now, I don't have any goals because I just have an administrative account here, but this is what it looks like if you're starting out and you don't have any yet. I'm going to use what's called a proxy feature. You won't have this, but I've set up a couple of fake accounts between Joe and Kyra, so you're familiar with the names. So I'm going to be creating goals for and working together, and same with the performance forms. These are not actually their real accounts. These are ones that secondary accounts where I use the same name. So if you bear with me for a second.
While you're doing that, Russ, our managers have proxy rights to their own employees, so they can sit.
Oh, that's right. Okay, great.
So they get to see the feature. That's great.
Yeah, so you will have a proxy tab. The managers will right there. So I'm now logged in as Joe. Again, this is a test account I've set up for Joe. We're going to go to the goal tab for him right now. And we're going to see he has goals in here. 1, 2, 3, 4 current goals. To create a goal in the system, and I'm just going to create a test goal, you click the Create Goal button. We took the goal library out at the last minute of your configuration, I remember a year ago, so there's not going to be anything here. We could always re-upload it, but don't worry about this button. You're going to be creating the personal goals. You have a choice when you create goals between public and private. Public goals, anybody can see them. The decision was for full transparency when we implemented this, so everybody is going to be able to see everybody else's goals. If you pick a private goal from this drop-down, then that's a goal that only the manager and the employee can see, right here. Here you have your category. We have 4 categories: customer service, productivity, quality, and financial. So you're going to want to pick the one that's closest to the goal that you're entering. I'm just going to put the goal, I'm just going to put test for this so you can see what it looks like when I add one. Success measure is how you measure the success of the goal. These next categories for goal execution, which I'll explain a little bit more about as we go. Your target percentage complete, the actual percentage complete. You can pick the probability of success. Hopefully your probability of success is going to be high on most of them, but it gives you that. The weight you want this goal to be. As you can see, there are goals all the way through. You want your weights always to add up to 100%. So if you've got 4 goals, it could be 25% apiece. They could be 50, 10. But as you add goals, you're going to want to make sure it always adds up to 100%. We've got a safeguard in there, or at least a little warning. So if I add this goal right now, and I give that a 10% weight, and you can change your due date. You've got status, not started, on track, behind, completed, high risk, canceled. You can put percentage complete, and tasks are like, I would describe them as sub-goals. So maybe there's certain tasks you want to complete by a certain date in order to be able to successfully achieve that goal. Maybe, if you click on that, maybe you're going to say 20% complete by X date, and you can continue to add them as you go along just by adding a plus. If you add another one right there, you can see it gives you the ability to be able to add another sort of sub-goal within that. If I click Save Changes, you're going to now see this new test goal right here. This is what I just added. But notice I had all the goals adding up to 100% before. So now you're seeing that max goals should have weighed 100%, and you've got a total weight of 110%. So here's your warning right here that you've got to change your weights so that you have 100% total. Once you've done that, this little icon right here under Actions with a little pencil and paper allows you to be able to go in and edit goals anytime you want to. So right here you're seeing it's opening up that particular goal again. And just because I want to have it turn out to be 100%, I've given that particular goal no weight at all. Probably not something you're going to do in practice, but you can see now we've got a total goal weight of 100%, so we're okay. Cascade goals. You see this cascade button up here. If you want to cascade a goal, what that means is you want to send that to one of your direct reports. So you're going to check the box, and you're going to click Cascade Selected. And what that does is it gives us a list of the direct reports. Kyra is one direct report. Walter Watson, who is another, I guess we call him fake user or test user, is another one in the system right now. But you can do one or both. Let's just go ahead and cascade that. You're going to see then what it does is it opens it up again, so you can see exactly what the goal is, and you can edit it. So you don't have to send it exactly as is. But if you want to be able to create a goal at the top and have your downline or your direct reports work on it, this would be the way to do it. So you're pretty much in alignment, but you might want to change something. You might want to change the weight or the start and the due date of theirs and send it. I'm just going to send this as is and click Cascade right here. Now that goal has been cascaded. What you're looking at right here is an employee hierarchy. So right now with this arrow, this green arrow, we're logged in as Joe, and we're looking at his goal plan. And you can see below these little spyglasses next to the name of Joe's direct reports in the system right here. And we're going to be able to go look at that goal plan. But just very quickly, I'm going to show you an email was also generated and sent. Can you see this email right here? So there's email notifications that come too. Let's go ahead and take a look at Kyra's goal plan now. So we're still logged in as Joe, and Joe wants to take a look at Kyra's goal plan. You click on the little spyglass, and now we can see Kyra's goals. And she's got different goals, but here's the test goal that you can see that we cascaded, and it's letting us know it was cascaded because it was linked by Joe right here. So it's telling us where it came from. And you can see 20% complete by X date. Joe can also go in and edit the goal right in Kyra's goal plan. So you can actually do this without proxying. So again, let's go to that right there, and here's the goal again. Okay? I also want to show you these display options right here. It's a little bit small. You can open or close this. I just want to make you aware of it right here. Often it's closed by default, but you can click this button, it's going to open it up, and it's going to allow you to be able to make this not so busy if you want to. So anything you don't want to show, like all these alerts right here, you want to turn those off. If maybe you didn't feel it was necessary to have the start date or the due date, you could uncheck those boxes, click update, those fields are gone from view. One other thing, we're logged in right now again as Joe, remember. We're looking at Kyra's plan, and we see this delete selected. So Joe can actually also go in and delete Kyra's goals. Kyra cannot delete her own goals. Only Joe can delete his direct reports goals. But again, you can only do that if you're a manager for the direct report. I'm going to go back to Joe's plan, and you can see I just got a goal deletion notice in the email right there. So now we're back looking at Joe's plan. You'll notice there's no button for Joe to delete goals because it's his own plan. You can't delete your own goals. So we're now going to move. You're going to see in this goal there's these little sub-tabs down here. And I'm not sure how much people have sort of experimented with those, so we're going to do that now. I'm going to show you how these work. So now we're still in the goal section, and these are sub-areas of that goal section. If we go to status report, these are all of Joe's goals. And there's little instructions right here. You can see that. If they don't show up on yours when you go in, just click this instructions and all of a sudden they'll be here. But you can see right now it gives you the actual percent and the target percentage complete. These were already entered in when you guys were experimenting last year, so I didn't play with those. These are just what was there. I'm not quite sure why we have target percent complete 200. Apparently somebody really exceeded their goal. So that's fine. You can actually change the probability of success right here on this if you want to, just by clicking another one. You can see I just moved that from high to medium, and it says changes pending. Then you click Save to do that. And if you want to put comments in, you could actually create comments right here of your current status and the next steps. And the reason you do that is because then you would send the status report. The status report goes to your manager. So if you get a request from a manager for a status report on your goals, you can go in here, you can update, can add comments, change the probability of success, and send that. Remember, we're logged in as Joe right now, and we're looking at his status report. If we go to the execution map, the next tab, so this execution map basically just shows you the goals that have been created and the ones that have been cascaded. These have been cascaded, again, in this test environment. This isn't Joe's real account. They've been cascaded to a couple of other test users, Carol Clark and Walter Watson. So you're actually seeing that right here. If you keep going down, it's going to show you all of Joe's goals. And if you click on one of those, you can see you can ask the goal owner for a status update, or add it to the meeting agenda, or remove the goal. Because we're in Joe's goal plan right now, and we're looking, and he's the goal owner, if you created a goal for yourself, and you're looking at your own goal, and you click Ask Goal Owner for a status update, you're going to get an error, because you're already the owner. So let's go over to this left navigation pane. This left navigation pane gives Joe the ability to be able to now look at his direct reports goal plans and status report, execution map, all these sub-tabs. Now we're looking at Kyra's goals. These haven't been cascaded. These were created, so that's the reason there's no line out to them. But he can now look at those. And now, if he wants a status update, he can go here, ask for status update, and you get a new window. And you can type in request update. And that now sends an email to Kyra telling her that he wants an update on her goal plan. See, it just came through. Very good. So please be advised, Joseph Carosoli has requested a status report from you. Please send status, and that has what I just typed in there. There's actually a link that goes right to the plan. You also got a right-hand pane over here that shows changes in the actual percentage. This will track as you continue to make changes in the goal plan in the actual percent and target percent and the probability of success in a graph form here. It'll show you what's been added to the meeting watch list. Nothing right now. If something's been added to the meeting agenda, let's see if it has been. It's going to show it right here. So these have all been added to the meeting agenda watch list right here. And again, you can remove fields if you want to. You can ask for what you want last updated by the number of days or within the last number of days, or if you just want them all. You want my goals or your direct reports goals. So pay attention to all these over here as well. Just remember, when you're in these sub-tabs, there's little arrows on the left and the right that are going to open up more for you. If you want to take something away from the meeting watch list, like that particular goal right there, you just click on the X, and it's already deleted it. You can also create a PDF right here. Let's go to status report. I also want to show you on the right of the status report right here. If you click this tab on the bottom, it'll give you all the status reports that have been submitted so far. Joe hasn't submitted any, so they're not going to be there for him. But if he goes down and he looks at Kyra's, you can see Kyra's already submitted 2 status reports. The default one that's showing right now is the one that she submitted for 10/18. If he wants to see the one she submitted for August 25th to 10/18, you click on that, it opens up a new window. So you have a record of all the status of reports, and you can actually sort of track and see what it was to where it is, and with that graph you can probably get some idea of where it's going as well. I know I moved through that pretty fast, and there's a lot of sub-tabs, so feel free to ask a question. Go ahead.
How do you actually update that status?
You mean a new status report?
Yeah.
You'd have to go into the goal plan and actually make changes to the percentage complete and the actual complete. But you can change the probability of success and add comments right here. And then, let me choose this right here so you can see a little bit better. And then your send status report is right here.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense? So if they want a status report and you've really changed a lot of these and the actual and the percentage complete, you go to the goal plan, you can change your percentages there. I want to show you really quickly though, because this is what confuses, before we move out of the goal plan, this is what does confuse people from time to time. When you've got a goal like this, and you've got these fields down here, you've got target percent complete, actual percent complete, and probability of success. These are the 3 fields that are pulling into that goal execution plan, which is a little bit different. Because some people might say, well, why have we got a percentage complete down here? Because you've got a percentage complete of the whole goal. This is what's showing up right here. Goal execution is almost like a different, it's tracking things a little bit differently. It's something that's sending status reports to your manager. And that goal execution plan is only pulling in these 3 fields right here. So you'd want to change these if you're going to change it. Save changes if you need to change those. Then go to your status report, and you'll see those changes show up if you've made any. And then you can change your probability of success, add comments, send a status report. Automatically emails that status report to the manager. Let's log in as Kyra really quickly. I'm going to proxy over. I'm going to go to her goal plan. I'm going to go to her status report tab. I'm going to type in just my other accomplishments testing status report. I'm going to send it. And I'll just send a status report. And you can see the dates up here automatically typed in. And so if I go now, you're going to see the status report. I put my email in as both test users. So that's the reason I'm getting them all, in case you wondered. So Joe has now gotten an email Please advise that Kyra looks to submit a status report. Here's a link. You can log right in and go directly to that status report. One last thing before we move on. You can actually look, if you click on any of these links right here, that'll actually allow you to be able to open up the whole goal and look at it. We haven't done that yet, so let me just show you that. So this shows it in just a little bit different form that's public. It shows the category, the goal, measure of success, target percent, actual, shows all your fields, shows everything that's been modified since. This is the one displayed right now. If you want to see what it looked like back on 10/18, you click that one in view. Actually takes back to the view of what it looked like then. So you can see every change that's happened. Okay, so we'll move on to the performance forms now if everybody thinks they're sort of got that.
I have a question.
Sure.
If you're creating a goal, let's say you have a performance evaluation for this year and you want to copy that goal into next year's,
Yeah.
is this where we would cover that, or will you get to that later?
When you have your performance forms for the next year, there is, or there should be, or customer success can turn on a button that will say copy goal. Do you have 2013 performance forms in here yet, Kyra?
Yes, and it leaves our goals out there, and we can copy those. They can continue on to each form.
Oh, okay, great. So if you have a second one created, you're going to have a button over here that's going to say copy goal, and it's going to allow you to be able to choose what year. So say you've been doing this for 3 years, you can actually pick which goal plan and which year you want to copy from. It's going to be another drop down with another one of these buttons. You're going to choose that, you're going to choose your goal, and you can copy it to the current year. Okay? Do you have that now, Kyra?
Well, it's different. No, we do not have that button. Ours is keeping the goal there, and it keeps those goals. Say I've already had my eval done. It's keeping that goal for the next year and its performance when we open up.
Oh yeah, okay, because you created a new goal plan. I mean, you created a new performance form that links to the same goal plan. And that is more common. But if you actually were to create, say, a 2013 goal plan, if different, then you would have a different goal plan linked, then you would have that button. So it sounds like what you've done is, yeah, you've created your 2013 performance form linking to the same goal plan. It is a little more common to do that, so people can keep track. It's easier just to go ahead and delete goals and add than it is to create a new goal plan every year.
Or edit them.
Right. So let's go to performance now. Now you've set it up, I believe, so that the manager creates forms for the employee, Kyra, or do you launch them from Human Resources?
Only just before our fire starters meeting at 8 o'clock in the evening. I did that by accident. And everybody was notified. No, we have our managers actually create the form for the employee.
Yeah, I thought that was from what I was looking at. Again, it's been a year, so forgive me. It's a couple of things I don't remember here exactly. I know I'm logged in as Joe. So if you go to the Performance tab now, which is just to the right of the Goal tab, up here at the top, you're going to see this Create New Form button.
I was talking about the goals that are being cascaded down, and those goals, that's all that Joe and the board, or all that Joe has done is cascade those down. The actual forms are created by the manager for the goals that the manager has for those employees. So the manager must create the forms.
Yeah, that's a good point. Think of the goal plan as a worksheet. It's not actually a form, it's a worksheet. And then when we create this form, the performance review form, it's going to pull in those goals from the goal plan. So a manager will create a form by clicking this Create New Form button. Here's you've only got one form in the system right here, right now, turned on, so click on that one, and it gives you the choice. The only choices that are in here are going to be for your particular direct reports again. So here, for this test situation, this demo, I've got Kyra in and this other Walter Watson. Because I've already set up the demo with Kyra, I'm just going to launch a form and show you what it looks like when you do it. You click Create. It's got review start dates and end dates and review date, and you can edit those right here if you need to. If you click on it, it's going to open up Calendar, allowing you to do that. You edit the dates, create and open. Next, over on the right, you can see it opens the form right up. So that's all there is to creating a form. It opens up for the manager and goes to the manager first in what we have is called the planning stage. And then the manager can go in, they can make their comments all the way down. You're seeing this pulling in goals from the goal plan right here. I'm going to switch over to the one I have open for Kyra in just a second. I'm just sort of showing you what it's like to create one. And these were all goals in there for the other test user, Walter Watson. As you go down, you're seeing core competencies as well. That'll come into play, comments that you can make, role-specific competencies, and individual development goals. Individual development goals might be something like improve public speaking. Measure might be join Toastmasters. You can enter those in as well. So let's go over to the one that I've actually created already with comments in it for Kyra. What you'll do, though, is that when you're the manager and you have it in the planning stage, you're going to first enter your comments all the way down for all of those, and then you're going to send it to your direct report. I've already done that for Kyra, so we're going to proxy over as Kyra right now. It's right here. You can see, you can either go to the Performance tab and look, or you can actually just from this page right here, the home page, if you see something that's underlined and in blue, like it is right here, you can just click on that and it's going to take you right into the form. So here's Kyra's form. Joe's already gone in the planning stage and he's entered his comments and sent it on to her. So you're seeing all those performance goals right now. See all the way down? So we're looking at Kyra's performance form right now. Again, logged in as Kyra. Notice this little pencil and paper, the small icon right over here on the right.
Rex, just a second, we have a question.
So the questions that are the competencies, they're already in there, you know, set by the form.
Yes.
Can we edit those? Because like right now, they talk a lot about management and doing crucial conversations and things, and none of my staff have done that. And every time I send it to them, they're like, I don't even know what this means.
Okay. So, Russ, what's
Can competencies be edited?
Yes.
Yeah, no, competencies can't be edited. They're actually pulled into the form. They're hard-coded in, and they come from a competency library. So it's not like creating goals on the fly. They come from a library, and they have a certain number that's associated with them. And the role-specific competencies, it's the same, except they're mapped to your particular form based on your role within the organization. So some people in some department or some roles are going to get different competencies than people in others. But we can edit the competencies overall, but you can't edit them on the fly per goal per performance form. No.
The core competencies that you see come up can only be edited by the system. It's not something you can individually edit. So just let me. We'll talk about that in a group that originally set those competencies up, about how they might need to be edited.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I just want to show you this is a really nifty feature that people love about our system, but it's the writing assistant. You'll notice these tabs over here on the right. You don't have a writing assistant for the goals because you're creating your own goals. The writing assistant is directly tied to those competencies that are from the SuccessFactors competency library. Show you right now. And it actually allows you to be able to choose whether they need improvement, whether they meet, or whether they exceed. It gives you some various choices. It also gives you the ability to say you or I. So notice right here, right now we've got generally open-minded, and we've got Kyra. So it says Kyra is flexible, open-minded, and willing to make changes if a better idea comes up. If we go to click this, Kyra has excellent listening skills. So it just gives you a little blurb right here, and then if you click on it, it'll give you the full verbiage. If she's doing a self-review like she is right now, she's going to click this narrative right here, and it says, I have excellent learning skills. You're a manager, and you want to say you can click you. There's also a positivity scale. So even within these three right here, between improve, meets, and exceeds, let's go to good listener, for example. You listen attentively and are always respectful. If I want to make that a little less positive, you are generally a good listener versus you listen attentively and are always respectful when others are speaking. So within each of these, you actually have three categories of positivity as well. So it really gives you, a multitude of choices there. So if I choose this and I click narrative, because you're doing a self-review, place text, you can see instantly that was typed in right here. And you can close the window, but you can still edit it. So we always like to encourage people to use this as a great tool for people getting started and giving them ideas on how to answer a specific competency, because again, those choices are tied to that to the competency library. But from there, edit it and make it your own. Same thing with spell check. You can click spell check, but you can also have legal scan in here. If you click the legal scan button or the spell check, it's going to open up these windows. It's scanning. I used to have to do this all press releases went out all by hand, so I love this tool. because it's going to tell you now that if you put something in there, some sort of a word, let's go ahead and put some word in there. I don't know. I'm guessing some word like pregnant is probably going to pull something up. So let's see. Pregnant, sure enough. Legal Scan has identified wording you should reconsider. Click each underlined word to view suggestions. Legal Scan does not automatically replace words. Please edit your text based on the suggestions. So I clicked on it. Is this subject relevant? Use care when describing age, personal problems, religious or political affiliations, medical conditions, or family issues. So it's not going to replace it for you, but it's going to tell you what the problem was with that word, so you'll know how to approach editing it. Well, I'll have to tell you, though, it's one of those things that doesn't catch all sorts of people have told me words that put in there, and it doesn't catch them. So there's a way that you can add easily in the administrative area words to it, too. So if you find something constant, comes up more than once, you might consider adding to the Legal Scan library. Okay? So she's got all her comments in here, and now she's going to send it to Joe. And by the way, you can save all your comments just by clicking, see right here, this little green emblem over on the right of each bar, each color bar? That also saves any changes that you've made. Any changes in the comments, any changes in the format at all, it's going to change them for you. And save it. So let's go ahead and send it back to Joe now.
Question, Russ, just a second. They want to know if we have the ability to eliminate the legal and the spell check scan every time.
It's something that can be turned off globally for the system as a whole, but not individually. So have you used the system and noticed that you get a pop-up when you try and send it on to a next step?
Yes, and you can uncheck either of those.
And you can uncheck those boxes. Correct. But there's also a way in the admin area you can turn it off altogether. I just don't advise it. I think it's actually a great tool for catching things. I know it's a little bit of a pain to uncheck those boxes or to go through that, but it really only takes an extra few seconds. So I always advise, after having to do all that manually for so long, leave it on. Let it do its thing.
Yes, the group asking you that question does about 60 of them, and after they get the first one the way they want it.
I know. I mean, you're not the first one to bring that up. It's like, oh my gosh. So I understand that. It's a lot to do. So it can, I mean, if it gets to that point, you want to handle it in your internal training, there's a way to be able to turn off that automatic spell check and legal span on routing. And I can show Kyra how to do that, but I think it's something that you really need to discuss and probably discuss with your legal department too, just to make sure that they're okay with that.
It's all or none for our system, meaning it's the entire Elks system.
Yeah, it's global. It does give you the ability to uncheck those boxes again on an individual basis, but I'd have to either turn that on or turn off that box showing up for the entire system.
Okay.
I can show you how to do that, Kyra, though, just so you know for the future in case it ever comes up.
Okay, that'd be great.
Kyra's now finished. She's sending it back to Joe because Joe needs to send it on. Let's go ahead and look at Kyra's form now. So remember, we're still in the planning stage. The planning stage is an iterative where you can go back and forth for however many months it takes until you get to the self-review. So a lot of people, they'll launch these earlier in the year. You're going back and forth. You're making comments on where you are on your competencies and everything else as you go down through the system. That can go on for quite a while. You can keep adding comments until finally you're ready. Only the manager has the ability then to be able to send to the next step. Next step is obviously in this review here, the self-review step. If you point to these and the mouse over, you're going to see text like this: employee adds ratings and comments on performance areas to this review period. This button's still here because he can send it back if he wants more comments from Kyra, but if he wants to move it to the next step, which we're going to do now, he's sending it on. We're finally at the end of all our planning. This is what you're talking about, the dreaded pop-up box. I'm going to go ahead and run it. I think I took pregnant out of there, so I don't think testing manager's comments. Oh, it's picking up Kyra's name in the spell check. I'm going to say ignore, and we're going through the legal scan. This is just for people so you can see it that haven't seen it before. You can also uncheck those boxes that we were talking about, and it's going to skip that. You'll see it on the next one. This is where you can actually type in a note that's going to go in the email. It's going to be sent. So, Kyra, please complete your self-review. Let's go ahead and send that on. We've now sent that form to Kyra. It's going to be in her inbox You're going to see an email. Kyra, please, this is just gone to Kyra. You can see right here. Here's the note you typed. It's going to give her a link to go right in and log into that document. Let's go log in as Kyra now. We're logged in as Kyra. You can see again we've got the blue underline with the self-review, so we can go in right there. Opens up the form, and now we have new fields. We have the rating field. So you can see you have a drop down, you have unsatisfactory, improvement needed, meets expectations, exceeds, and excellent. The reason you have unable to rate is sometimes it's just not possible. Maybe somebody's too new. You can put that in your notes if you want to, but it forces people to make a conscious decision to rate, because if you don't make a conscious decision and you leave it at choose one, like it is right here, and you were to try to route the document forward, you're going to get an error that's going to tell you that for the goal on this one right here, annual basis, conduct an employee satisfactory survey, that you have not entered a rating. It's forcing you in a rating. So if you're absolutely just unable to, then you click that and it at least shows that you made a conscious choice to do that and not just missed it. As you can see, I've already added these in. I've added comments everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and leave that at choose one just to show you. If she's completed it with all her comments, she clicks to send it on. She gets the box. I'm going to uncheck these boxes now, which will allow you to skip the performance and the spell check and the legal scan. And you can see right here, error. Required fields are not filled in, and it's telling you specifically in a role-specific competency section, the managing for results is missing the item rating by the subject. You're the subject of the review when you're doing your self-rating. So it's going to not allow you to be able to move forward. You're going to have to go back, but at least it's telling you exactly where it is. It's telling you it's in the role-specific competency section. You need to be able to choose one. I'm going to choose exceeds expectations because Kyra has exceeded expectations. Spell check and legal scan. I'm going to skip that again. It allows you to be able to type in a message again here. I'm going to leave this blank, and it's going to send it to the next in the route map. It's going to send it to the manager for the managers are going to review. So let's log in now as the manager. Now we're at the manager review. Logged in as the manager. So now we can see what Kyra's entered for herself. Unable to rate right here, but we've got to exceed expectations again. This is where the manager is going to add their own. I've already done this again to sort of expedite our experiment here. See all the way down. You can send it back now in this. This is what's called an iterative step. So if the manager looks at it and they're looking at the employee's comments and they're thinking, I think maybe you should edit your comments or maybe possibly even edit your rating for one reason or another, they have the ability to be able to send that back now to the employee. So Joe could actually send it back to Kyra. You can see at the bottom, send to Kyra. And in that sort of little email thing that pops up, type in the email, you might want to reconsider this particular comment on this particular goal. So up at the top, you can do it. You can either click down at the bottom or up at the top here. Send to Kyra or move to the next step. So that would just send it back. It'd still be in the manager review step, but Kyra could go in, make edits, send it back to Joe, and then Joe would have to send it on to the discussion step. Yeah, I think the question on that, from what I heard, was in the goal planning, can you move to the next step? No, think of the goal plan, again, as sort of a worksheet. It's where you're creating your goals and creating the probability of success, and all of that information is then pulled into your performance review form. So you can actually edit your goals here, again, just like you could in the goal plan. So you don't have to go back to the goal plan. If you want to be able to make edits, you can go right in here in this, and you can change your goal without having to go back to the goal plan. But all this is doing is pulling in exactly what you have in that goal plan.
If you were to start a new form, so if they get a picture of this, you have your original goal plan, you start the form, that's the goal plan forward into that form. If you go back and edit the goal in the goal plan, it will change the information that's in that current form you're using.
That's absolutely right.
You can't add goals when you're in the performance tab. You go back and add them in the goal tab.
Correct. You can edit the goals with this, but you'd have to add a goal, you have to go back to your worksheet, your goal plan worksheet.
Okay, I think that answered it.
I'm going to send it back to Kyra. Let's go back and take a look. I just want you to see every step so you know what it looks like. So you can see we're still in the manager review step. logged in as Kyra, so she can go back in now and she can edit her goals, and she can, even though it's in the manager review step and it's not in the self-review, he's sending it back and she has the ability to be able to edit here. Let's go ahead and send it back, because only the manager can send it to the discussion step once they've completed all their comments and their ratings. So once she's edited, she sends it back. The manager, Joe in this case, can then change his still if he wants to before he sends it on to the discussion step. And let's go ahead and send it on to the next step, discussion step. And we get our wonderful pop-up box. Now notice, you're probably seeing right now, there's no place to type in anything. You know how I've showed you in every step there's something to type something in for that email? The reason for that, just so you don't think it's an error, is because Joe's sending it to himself. He's controlled the manager step. It's leaving the manager step right now. He's sending it to the discussion step, which the manager is in control of. So when you send something to yourself, there's no box to be able to type an email to yourself. That's why that's missing. Just so you know, I get that question quite a bit. So I don't have to log in as anybody else. Notice it shows up right back in my own. I'm logged in as Joe, and it's right back in my inbox. But it's showing now that it's at the discussion step. Got it? By the way, I don't think I've covered yet, there's a little red X over here. So the manager, again, has the ability to be able to delete forms out of the system if there's some reason they need to do that. But the employee cannot delete their own forms. You can only delete the form of your direct report. Let's go back in here.
The question was asked, is there an audit trail?
There's an audit trail in reporting, again, which is sort of another subject.
Okay.
In the reports. So yeah, the system administrators can go run reports. So as you can see, it's still editable in the discussion step. The reason for that, if I remember correctly, and I sort of agree with this, is people always like to feel when they go into final performance reviews that there's something that they can say that might change some sort of a rating or some sort of a comment. Psychologically, it seems to go over better to do it that way. Some have it locked down, but that's the reason, if I remember correctly, that we left it open. So how much editing and the ability to be able to change those things is something I think to be covered in your internal training, but that's why right here there's still the ability to be able to change ratings and change comments in that discussion step. So it looks, actually, if you look at it, it's exactly like the manager review step. The only difference is now you get a new section at the bottom, which is the overall performance summary. You weren't able to see that yet, but at your discussion, what it's done is it's giving a calculated rating. So the overall goal rating is 4.6 out of 5, and it gives you each goal and what the rating was, and the weight for that particular goal. There are no weights on competencies. It's just an overall rating for each section. And if you click on the hyperlink, it gives you the breakdown of what each of these ratings mean.
There's a question, Russ, just a second.
Sure. Correct. So just to repeat the question, do the employees' self-ratings count in or show anywhere in an overall goal rating, or and the answer is no. Just the manager's ratings are what count, and that's what shows up over here.
That is correct. So what she was pointing out, that sending and moving to the next step are two separate things, because we've got a number of managers that get caught in the sending back and forth and don't realize moving to the next step.
No, you're absolutely right. So in the discussion step, right here, we've got these buttons at the top and the bottom of send to Kyra and move to step. Yes, this send to Kyra is, again, an iterative step where you're sending it back for her to be able to look at. Or you can move it to the next step, in this case, which would be for final signatures. So you've got to pay attention to the buttons up here and whether you're actually sending it. When you're sending it to somebody and there's a named person, you're not sending it actually to the next step in the route map. You're sending it back. This is your back and forth. It's got the little arrow. I also want to point out for you guys, for this particular configuration, you put 100% of weight on goals. So you'll notice that even though you have competencies and you have a calculated rating for the competency sections, what's giving you your calculated rating is just for the goals, and that was a configuration decision that we made. So you'll notice where we have 4.6 out of 5, that's actually the overall goal rating, and that's why this is labeled overall goal rating instead of overall calculated rating for everything. So in other words, it could have been for car competencies. You could weight individual sections different ways, but for your configuration, we've got 100% weight for the scoring on the goals. Let's move to the signature step. We're almost there on this. I'll ask any questions, and I want to basically just show you the employee profile. Okay. Notice we've got this now again. The reason we've got this box is because it's actually going to the employee for signature. It goes to the employee first. Let's go ahead and log in as Kyra. Okay, so now we're in the signature step. It's sitting in the employee's box, and it's all locked down. No more edits can be made. You see all the way down, this is what it looks like. All the comments, all the ratings are recorded. You've got your overall summary, and now you've got a new section on the bottom, and you've got signatures and comments right here. Let's sign. It's an electronic signature. Let's go back in now. It's been sent to Joe. And let's go down to the bottom. Kyra, was this here before?
I'm not seeing it. Are you? No, actually, that was something that we added, and then that's an old one. We opted to take that away. And so if you were to actually go into our real performance forms right now.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't remember that being part of your configuration, so I was kind of wondering where that was coming from.
It's something I learned.
Okay. So we don't need to worry about that.
No.
Okay, so in your new, most current forms, you're not going to see this right here. Don't worry about it. But you can see it's typed in her name and it's put in the date. Now Joe will send it. We're going to go ahead, sign, and complete. I'm going to show you where to sign it. You can also, again, add comments right there. Sign and complete. And now, if you go into the completed folder, there it is. And when Kyra logs in, if she goes to the completed folder in hers, it's going to show it's there as well. So you can actually go in and look at those completed forms anytime you want to.
She can print her own out. In fact, the way we're doing this is that our forms are kept in SuccessFactors, the entire form. All that we require in Human Resources is the summary sheet with the explanation on the bottom of the percentage of increase. And employees can go get their own and print them out as hand managers. On the very last page of the stuff that I gave you for making notes, it's not the last page, it's actually about 3 in. It shows how a completed summary sheet looks when it comes to employee services. This is what we need, and on the bottom you can just type in what their rate is, the percent that you're giving them of an increase, what their new rate is, and it's done. Or you could send a change of status with the summary sheet if you missed it. That's why we have both ways. Because some managers enter past it, they go past the signature, and they can't add this to the budget. But you just need to let us know that it's been, this is one thing we've had happening, Russ. Supposedly HR was supposed to be notified all the time the way we set it up. But we're not. And so I might talk to you about that later. So we're having managers send us their completed summary.
Yeah. We'll go in and take a look, but yeah, there's a way to put it in there so that the HR should be CC'd, but only the person, the HR person of record in that data file, that's who it's going to go to.
And I think we made that employee services, so
yeah,
all in our office, but it doesn't.
Okay, so we'll take a look at that and make sure it's being routed to the right person or the right place or in the right email account.
How we got that was just having the managers let us know that by sending us the last page.
Right. Okay, so you're going to see there's a couple of more tabs here. I'm going to show you those really quickly because we've still got just a little bit of time. If you go to the company info, it's just going to give you a hierarchy chart. Ooh. Walter Watson's an interesting looking character. So this is the employment hierarchy right here. If we want to actually go to your real
wondering if there's a way to create custom organization charts. In other words, we have different councils in our organization, like a CEO council, an IS council. Is there a way to create org charts with the different members of those councils?
Well, the way all this is pulled in and the way it's all associated, again, is according to that data file. So it's only going to organize people according to what you have in that data file for who the manager is and who the manager's manager is, and that's the only way it pulls in right now. So you'll notice right here we've got Dave has, it looks like 20 direct reports, and Cynthia has 4, but 68 total. That means that out of those 20 direct reports, they have 113 below them. But this is Joe at the top. So if you were to click on any of those, let's click on Dave, and now it's going to give all his direct reports, and it shows you the number of direct reports below them. So it's a good way to giving a snapshot. You can make this a little larger, as you can see with this right here, the sliding scale. You can go to anybody you want to just by searching in here for that name. So if I was going to go to Kyra, there you are. I don't think this is your real account, though, again, Kyra. I think this is your the ones I created in here. But I'm just showing how you can pretty much go to anybody in the system. You can click the up arrow.
Okay, the last
Go
rule
ahead.
about the picture, because somebody asked what the rule about the picture was, that it needed to be a professional picture, and because we had some like a fishing picture with a fishing hat on, but they wanted it to be professional and only the person, the employee. Not and some of them are. We do have a couple business units where we've actually got them all uploaded. It takes a while and it hasn't been on the top priority list.
Okay, so if you have the capability,
Yes.
is the idea is that all pictures will be in there?
That would be nice, yes.
So you can see also by clicking on this little emblem light right here, it's called the quick card quick link, and it opens up a quick card over here. It gives say Joe's employee number and phone number, email directly. You can go right to his employee profile, which is what I'm going to show you in just a minute, or his gold plan. If you have proxy rights, it's going to allow you to be able to proxy in right away. So that's what that one does.
And I have used the business unit name numbers for the phone numbers for anyone that you see. Meaning if you need a Caldwell Peds person and they come out Caldwell Peds, that's the number, the general number for the Caldwell Pediatrics, not their personal number.
If you want much more detailed information of the whole thing, you go right to that employee profile. Again, there was the link over there to do that. But you can also just go to the employee profile tab up at top here. And if you click that, it's going to take you right to yours if you're logged in as you. It's going to take direct reports. Again, you can do a search. The minute you start typing, I'm just going to start typing in Steve, and you can see it's pulling in all the variations of Steve in the system, or Steven right here, and you choose the one you want to, so it's automatically going to do that for you. First, middle, last name, all of these fields over on the right. And then you can see all these different fields down below. Work experience within the company, special assignments, career workshops and seminars, certifications and licenses, language skills, career goals, geographic mobility. Geographic mobility means are you willing to move? I'll show you what a couple of them look like, but it's something to go in and definitely experiment with. So if you click Add, then it's asking you willing to relocate. If you click on that, it means yes, no, or limited. Limited normally means you're then going to say, well, yes, but only to a specific location. So let's say we're going to pick limited. And then you'd be able to type in here where you'd be willing to relocate to. Language skills. You can see we have a long list of languages in here already. It's called a pick list. So you could pick a language. Let's say you speak Cantonese. Your speaking proficiency, your reading proficiency, and writing proficiency.
And Russ, this is for individual employees.
Right. So go in and build your employee profile this way. I think it's probably a good exercise and it's a good way to get used to the system. Anything you put in here, professional memberships you enter, you're going to have to click Save. If you don't click Save, it's not going to save the changes. So if you happen to enter something and you don't fill out something that's required, anything with a little asterisk, like you can see right here, right to the right of language and speaking proficiency, if you enter, it's going to ask you each of these, and anything with an asterisk is required. If you don't fill that in and you try and save it, you're going to get a changes failed. See up here in the upper right? 4 errors occurred. It's because you added that field and you didn't fill anything out, and there were 4 required fields in that language. So if you want to get rid of that, you can always hit the trash can right here on the right. As long as you leave it in there without hitting the trash can, though, you're going to get a failed when you try and save. Deleted that, click save, and now you're there. So this is great for you to be able to go in and do it yourself. Let's see. Is HR changing any of these, Kyra? Do you know?
All I do downloads when I do the imports. It's from our payroll master. So names and stuff, it generally is consistent. And that's all that HR changes. The other information,
okay.
The employer.
Right. Does everybody feel a little bit clearer? Anybody lost? I've got 4 minutes to clear up your whole life for you. What can I do? Is everybody okay?
Yep, everybody's okay.
Yep, I think
great.
It's all okay.
Okay, and thank you everybody so much for your time. I hope it's a little bit clearer now, and that you enjoy it. It's a pretty intuitive tool. I think once you start using it and playing with it, it'll all make a whole lot more sense. One thing that we discussed last year, and I think Kyra said, was a lot of times people go in and make it a lot more difficult than it is. Once they start using it, they're going, oh, you know, once you get it, you get it. But you can't break it, so go ahead and play with it and edit things, and you'll figure out how it works, I think, pretty quickly. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Russ.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.